The public test server for SnowRunner's Season 7 update is here. But there's a bit of a problem, because at the present moment in time, as of recording this video, the date is Tuesday, April the 5th, and essentially, what we are supposed to be testing in the public test server is not as of this particular date. I'm sure it'll be fixed soon, I hope, but as of this current date, the elements of the game that we are supposed to be able to test are not actually testable, and I will show you guys what I mean by that momentarily. Now, before we get into any of that, though, I will say that the splash screen for the Tennessee map and the Tennessee region is actually really cool. You can see you have a couple of new visual elements. You have that start gate, or it could be a checkpoint gate right there. You have a kind of pit lane area with a bunch of race tents and some new equipment. You have a drone hovering in the air above the pit area, which is really cool. You also have the hot air balloons in the background surrounded by what looks to be like a lake, and then you've got some large mountains in the back as well. Also, down there on the road, if you can see on the left side of that corner, we've got some turn markers that I'm not sure we've seen on any other map before. You can see them a little further down the road, and also a lot of the race-inspired flags around the area. And there's also, if you look really closely, there are some film cameras around that either checkpoint or start-finish line. Now, what we're going to be looking at, though, is what happens when you try to actually access this region. Now, like I said before, they do plan on fixing this, I assume, at some point, hopefully very soon. But at the present moment in time, if you load into your campaign save, and then you go into, or you try to access the Tennessee region, you're met with a very odd message. Now, keep in mind, I am an owner of the Year 2 Pass, and I have owned all of the previous DLCs, which therefore should cause no issues accessing Tennessee in the public test server. However, as myself and quite a few other public test server users have found, we have not been allowed to access this particular region, and we're not entirely sure why. And the same story holds true when we try to go into the testing grounds to access the new vehicles, which I will show you guys soon as well. Now, interestingly enough, Tennessee is a one-map region. So, as far as we know right now, there's only one map that we will be able to access. There's not necessarily going to be another, tunnel to a different map, which, you could go kind of one direction or the other on that. Some people are okay with it. Some people are a little bit iffy about it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of odd to see. Now, let's go into our storage. As you can see, we've retained our Hummer H2. We go to the global map. We're here in Maine right now. We hit the right bumper to go to Tennessee, and we cannot select it. And the map name is Burning Mill, and you can see right there in the background, you can see the actual kind of topographical view of the map, but as you can see up at the top, Tennessee itself is locked. Now, I have re-verified my game's files multiple times to make sure that I have the latest version of the game, but it doesn't seem to, at the date of recording this video, that doesn't seem to make any difference. Now, the actual description, the official description of the Tennessee region reads, located in the southern part of the United States, Tennessee consists of 3 geographically grand divisions, East, Middle, and West Tennessee, each represented on the state's flag by its own star. For a long time, a certain abandoned mine in the western part of the state was used to host an annual off-road championship known as the Tennessee Off-Road Cup. The event itself consists of 3 stages: classic one-lap racing, extreme downhill, and an off-road navigation challenge, which I'm sure will all be represented here, if we could access it. Now, the regional progress reads Stage 1 completed, Stage 2 completed, and Stage 3 completed. They don't really give us all that much information, aside from the fact that Stage 1 looks like a circuit, Stage 2 obviously is going to be your downhill, and then Stage 3, by definition, is most likely going to be your off-road navigation challenge. But, like I said before, it will not let you select that region that you should currently be able to access. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys what happens when we go back to the main menu and we try to access the new vehicles. Now, you can look at them, you can preview them, but you can't actually use them. So as you can see, here we are in the testing grounds, and as we go into the garage, we'll be able to get a look at the new vehicles, but we won't be able to drive them. Now, if we go to the truck store, the first truck is going to be found in the off-road category all the way at this end, and it is the Azov 43-191 Sprinter. Now, in base form, this truck comes with an A+ power to weight rating, A- durability, B+ fuel consumption, and 93 liters of fuel, and the stock or standard tire size is a 47-inch all-terrain with all-wheel drive and diff lock always on. However, if I try to buy it, yeah, I'm not allowed. And nobody else that is using the PTS right now is allowed to buy these. So if I preview it, this is the only way that we can actually get a hands-on look at this truck, and keep in mind at the moment, we are not allowed to drive it. Now, if we go through the engines, you can see that the top engine, the top engine, is this going to be the top engine, or is this going to be the top engine? Well, this is the 16.1, but here's the thing about the 16.1. The 16.1 doesn't necessarily have racing in the description. Now, the SAM 814 is literally says a sport variant of the original Azov engine designed with racing in mind. So I assume that that's going to be your race-focused setup. Now, if we go into the gearboxes, you have a sport gearbox, which is going to be brand new for not only this truck, but for Season 7 as a whole. And it literally says a proprietary sport gearbox tuned for maximum performance at high speeds. Now, if we scroll down, you obviously see that we have the balanced, fine-tuned, high-range, off-road, all those options that we are used to. The standard suspension is going to be, I'm sure, race-tuned. Tires-wise, we have these guys right here, the 47-inch SPO1s. Then we also have the ATHS1s, OHS2s, OHS1s, and MHS1s, as well as the MHS1 all chains. But I'm sure that it's going to handle the best, or at least I assume it's going to handle the best with this new all-terrain compound. Now, winch-wise, you've got your standard assortment. Snorkel-wise, you have a tall square cap. You also have a twin tall wedge cap, and then a short round cap as well. Now, those are actually some really interesting looking snorkel designs. Now, frame add-ons, we have internal supply storage, which is going to give you 150 repair parts and 14 extra units of fuel. Then when you go to the visuals, rooftop-wise, you have a safety cage with fog lights and a safety cage with round lights. Front bumper-wise, you've got reinforced and then stock. I mean, you really don't have much in terms of the bumper options, but I do like that. I like both of those. Now, miscellaneous-wise, you have some double-raised beacons, cabin air conditioner, small parking lights, factory parking lights, some horns, an angled sun visor, a dark slant sun visor, and a dark downward-facing sun visor. And then you have one wheel option, and they're a very beefy, bead-locked, I'm sure central tire inflation compatible wheel setup. Now, when you get to the color options, you have all of your standard colors that you can go through for this truck, and then you also have a few combinations down here that I think look really good. I really like this blue and white. I like the kind of gray and red. I like this one as well. I don't really think there are any bad-looking color combinations that are featured on this truck really at all. And then, of course, on the interior side of things, you actually have some really cool elements in here. Now, obviously, you have your standard bobbleheads, and it's also compatible with some modded bobbleheads as well. But what I really like about it is I really like the detail in here, especially on the steering wheel. Like, that is legitimately a race steering wheel setup. And then you have the CB radio right there. You have all your switches. You have all your auxiliary gauges that you would, of course, want in a race truck. And then if we go to the stickers, or sorry, the exterior stickers, you have some new ones down here at the bottom if we keep going on down for Season 7. Like, for example, God, once we get all the way down here, come on. Like, for example, we have Very Loud, which I'm definitely down for using that. We also have this one. These are a lot more like, competition focused. I kind of dig that one because that kind of emulates my driving style sometimes. You have your champion one, you have this one, you have the nice dirt, which that one I kind of dig. I like the art style of it. You have the pro piston and you have the pumped up one. I really like the art style on these, and I like how they're centered around the racing aspects of this DLC. Now, once we go through that one, if we go over here to the Scout category and we go all the way to the end, that's where you'll find the new car. Now, once again, you cannot buy it. It will not let you buy it on the PTS right now because of that weird issue. But if we go into the preview, you can see that the GORBY-4 is the new car. Now, this thing is very odd and yet kind of interesting because it's a weird looking vehicle, but I think it's going to be really fun to drive. Now, engines wise, you have the stock KR104, KR115, KR120AT, and KR Custom 160. That one is going to give this thing an S plus power to weight rating, and it's going to be an absolute, like, animal in a straight line. And I'm sure in the corners if you put the power down there as well. Now, we don't have any kind of sport or race gearbox for this thing, so I'm assuming that the freeway box is going to be the one you'll want for racing. Now, keep in mind, though, that a race box may be added later because things in the public test server are not always completely done. Now, suspension-wise, you have stock, and then you have raised, which that thing, I mean, God, you want to talk about a CV axle angle, holy crap. Tires-wise, you have 29s and 31s on this thing, but the ones I'm really interested in are these 29-inch OG ones. Now, granted, you have them in 29 and 31, but I'm kind of digging the tread pattern design. I really like them, and I think that they're almost like an ATV/UTV tire compound, but I think they're right at home on this quirky little off-road car. Now, you can do an engageable diff lock if you so desire. You have a couple of different snorkel options, which go right here to the rear-mounted engine, which I really dig. That is a gigantic inverted trailer hitch, by the way. Got a small roof rack up there, or a large roof rack if you really want to use this thing for scouting purposes. You also have a trapeze rear bumper and a stock one, which is essentially just a couple of, like, they're individual, like, bumper pads. And then rooftop-wise, you got some fog lights, which I really like the way those look. Those look sick. Got a toe loops front bumper with a winch mounted in it. I like that, actually. I like it a lot. Then does it add... Okay, no, that skid plate's already there. Now, whoa! Where are you going? Oh, you froze. Oh, boy. Oh, wow. Did the PTS just crash on me? I think the PTS just crashed on me. Oh, my God. What? Why is this happening? One game crash later, and we're back into the customization options for the little, what is it, the GOR-BY4. Now, wheels-wise, you get one option with these new tires, and miscellaneous-wise, you got some external horns up here, you got an angled sun visor with beacons, dark slant sun visor. Again, you got your toe loops bumper, but I'm being very careful not to back all the way out, because apparently that crashes the game for some reason. Now, in terms of color options, again, full range of colors, but the actual custom ones, the way they interface with the, like, the stripes and everything, I actually kind of dig. Like, some of them look really odd, and then others, I feel, look really good. Like, I really like this one, as odd as that might sound, and I also dig this one. It's kind of interesting. Now, when you go into the interior, it's got a really cool, like, old school sports style steering wheel, some nice gauges, and it's actually got a tack right there in the middle, which is a very odd place to put it. Now, it is compatible with modded bobbleheads as well as good old beans, and accessories-wise, I mean, you've got your standard, you know, accessories that hang from the mirror up there, and then also, of course, your stickers that go on the dash. But let's see, where will they let us put the exterior stuff? God, the one that goes on the roof is huge. Absolutely massive, and I would definitely, the one I would be putting up there would definitely be one of the new ones, like, for example, either Nice Dirt, Pro Piston, or maybe, I don't know, the Turtle is pretty sick. I mean, but the funny thing about that is that would probably make me turtle the car itself. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this odd look at the PTS, and I'm crossing my fingers and genuinely hoping for the best that we are actually able to use these new vehicles very, very soon. And to stay as up to date as possible on SnowRunner, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, and I will see y'all next time. Talk to y'all later, and I hope you guys enjoyed.